What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Cannonballs podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Dane Cannon.
Yeah,
Co-hosting with me today is
Jake Bowles on the mic 1-2.
And I can probably say and speak for both of us when I say this was probably a good week of football. I definitely had a good time. I finally won a fantasy game. It is about time. I was 0-4 going into this. Finally come out with a win. My Chargers get a dub. We'll get into that when we do this. But what's up, guys? We have a pretty good episode for you guys today. We're going to be basically going over the week 5 of the NFL 2022 season. We're going to give our thoughts and reaction, kind of go game by game, not go too far into detail. We don't want to take as long of a we don't want to make this episode as long as we have in the past. But yeah, if you guys aren't already, please go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, follow our Instagram at cannonballs_podcast. Jake, do you have anything to add before we get started?
I had a wonderful week of football. I almost had a perfect week. Both of my teams won. I actually got to see Notre Dame in person for the first time, so that was fucking awesome. Oh, excuse me, pardon my French. And then the 49ers dominated. I won in all 3 of my fantasy leagues, and I was this close to winning the pool. It was almost a perfect football weekend for me. So, yeah. But and there's some really good games. So I guess we should just get into it then.
Yeah, there were. Let's do it. Speaking of good games, the first game was not a good game. It was probably one of the worst games I've ever watched in the history of my NFL viewing career. On Thursday night, we had the Indianapolis Colts traveling to Denver to play the Denver Broncos. And this one was brutal to watch. It almost became enjoyable because it was so bad. Like, both of these offenses were struggling so hard. It was abysmal on both sides. But Indianapolis comes out on top. You know, Russell Wilson threw 2 costly interceptions in the end zone to really fuck them over. Excuse my French now. I'm going to use my F word. But yeah, it was bad. Denver's offense looks terrible. Russell Wilson looks terrible. And apparently it came out that Russell Wilson has a partially torn lat muscle. So I'm not sure if he's going to keep playing on it. He's expected to keep playing on it, and he's probably just going to get like numbing shots basically for pain management. But we'll see. I mean, even without, or even if we throw out the possibility that that's affecting his gameplay, if you look at it, he's not reading the correct reads. Like, he's missing wide open receivers. He just looks bad. He just looks bad in general. So I don't know how much I can blame on the injury. I think he's just processing the game incorrectly right now. He looks bad.
He looks terrible. He doesn't look anything worth the $230 million that they just paid him. But I mean, it's not just him that looks bad. Not. It's that entire offense. The receivers are dropping. I mean, before Javonte Williams, you know, he was barely any effect or had any effect on the field. Melvin Gordon has fumbled in every single game except for this last one, I believe. And then Jerry Jeudy, like, what has he done? Nothing. Yeah,
he almost did fumble, by the way.
Yeah,
he got saved because it came out, but he his elbow touch or something like that. He damn near fumbled for a 6th or 5th game in a row.
He's Butterfingers. I've seen a couple memes about him having Butterfingers. I mean, this is just, we were talking about it earlier in the week. I mean, this has got to be one of the most disappointing teams in that I can remember that had so much hype coming out, and then just I mean, what is it, the 6th week now, and what's their record?
So this was the 5th week, and 2-3. I think that they are. Are they?
Yeah, I mean,
they are
honestly,
2-3
like,
now,
that's
I
not
believe.
that bad of a record, but it's not even the record that, like, everyone's worried about. It's like how they actually look. They look absolutely terrible. Like you said earlier, like, this was, I mean, for how good of a week of football this was a terrible way to start it. Like, man, there was just nothing, and they should have won the game. But, you know, a costly interception at the end of the game. Like, why are you not running the ball? And then in overtime,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, Richard Sherman said it best at the end of the game, like in the press conference, or not press conference, but like when they were talking after the game, run the damn ball.
Yeah.
You're on the
I
1
mean,
yard line.
it's
So
I don't know. Something's got to figure out, or something has to get figured out, or they're gonna start pointing fingers, and then it's just gonna be a shit show. So I don't know, man. It was just terrible. I mean, and the Colts didn't look, anything special at all either.
Matt Ryan was under that.
I don't
offensive
understand.
line is bad.
I
It
don't
is
understand that one.
Bad. I mean, you remember when we were going over draft grades and I talked to you about one of the tackle prospects, Bernard Raymond, and I was like, I am so happy the Chargers didn't draft him. This is why. He's playing left tackle for the Indianapolis Colts, and he is a swinging door. He is a revolving door. Anyone and everyone is getting through. He's holding. He's getting penalized like crazy. He's getting beat on almost every play. He hasn't been playing the position very long. I think he converted from tight end, but still, like, he's got to figure his stuff out. He is bad. That offensive line is bad. Matt Ryan can't do anything. I would say the only bright spot on that offense that I saw from this game was the rookie Alec Pierce out of Cincinnati. He had a really good game. Anytime Matt Ryan was able to get him the ball, he made an excellent catch, contested catch. He made a couple open field catches. So that was good. But I mean, you got to be able to do more than that. I mean, you got to get Pittman more involved. Well, Jonathan Taylor's got to get going. But it's going to be hard behind that offensive line.
I don't know how long he's going to be out for. I mean, I'm assuming he's going to be back for week 6, but I don't know. We'll see. And then, they need him. They desperately need him to get it going, because I feel like it was kind of like the same thing last year. Like, the Colts kind of started off slow, and then as soon as Jonathan Taylor started getting it going, they figured stuff out. But I mean, both these teams look bad. Good for the Colts for getting a win, because right now I'm rooting. Every part of me is rooting against the Broncos. I just want to see them fail at this point. Like, they pissed me off with how disappointing they are. I just want to see them fail.
Bro, I hope that they continue to at least fail one more week, because they play the Chargers. And if the Chargers somehow let them score 30 points, I will put my head through a wall.
This is just their best game of the year.
Dude, that's how it was last year. Like, Denver was scoring like 14 points a game, and then they played the Chargers and scored like 35. I was like, what in the hell am I watching?
Well, I think we talked too much about this game. Really nothing. This next game, though.
Yeah, let's move.
This next game was.
Let's move on.
Pretty good. Well, actually, you know what? One team played really good, and one team was just a freaking shit show. The Giants beat the Packers in London, 27-22. Governor, good day. Yeah, take y'all, eat your vitamins. Nah, man, the Giants look good. I mean, they look as good as they can. And it's all behind Saquon Barkley. Like, he looks great. He had 70 yards rushing, and a touchdown, and he looks like vintage Saquon. And I like Saquon, so I'm a fan. So I'm happy for the guy. And then Daniel Jones.
I'm very happy for him.
And Daniel Jones, he doesn't look, like normal Daniel Jones. He actually looks like he's competent out there. I mean, their wide receiver core still like makes me very nervous to like call the Giants like legit, because their top wide receiver is who? Darius Slayton. Like, I mean, he had 79 yards receiving, but I don't know. I just have a hard time trusting this wide receiver core. But I mean, they took it to the Packers, man. They freaking came back. I think they were down by like several scores.
They were down 20-10 at half, if I'm not mistaken. And then they came back and won it. Green Bay only got 2 more points after that. I think was it a safety? Maybe it wasn't 20-10. Anyway, I think it was a 10-point lead, though, going into half.
But I mean, good job for the Giants. They're playing hard, and Brian Dable, I always mess his name up. He's got them playing hard over there in New York. On the other side,
he does. One thing that
the other side of the ball,
okay, go ahead.
The Packers look atrocious. This is 2 games I mean, the first game of the season, we kind of gave them a little leeway. You know, it's the first game of the season. You're still trying to figure things out. They looked awful. They looked awful Sunday. I don't know. It's just like no one. Did Aaron Rodgers get scared to throw it down the field? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just the receiving core also, but I don't know. They didn't look good at all to me. You can give your opinion, but I think they looked terrible.
I don't think they looked terrible because the first half they definitely had a strong performance. Their defense was doing their job. Their offense scored 20 points. I'm like 90% sure they scored 20 points in the first half. But one thing that I kind of judge and blame them on is they get away from the running attack. Like you can have success with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, and then you try and make all these last-minute fourth down throws or third down throws, and, you know, it kind of cost them at the end. They got batted down. Like he had 2 batted down passes in a row, which is pretty unlikely, but, you know, it happened. And you had like, a yard to go? Run the ball. I mean, it happened in Denver as well. It's just like taking a play out of their playbook. But I don't think they looked atrocious in the first half. In the second half, they definitely started showing their weaknesses. And Saquon definitely started getting things going. Daniel Jones, like, he was making good throws. I mean, the receivers that he has, they're a bunch of like second and third strings for any team. And he's making them look good. Like, I don't know. I just think that they were competent. Like you said, they got the ball going with Saquon. Saquon had a couple big runs in the second half. I think that, I don't know, Giants are outperforming expectations at this point. So good for the Giants. You know, I think that Green Bay will respond. Maybe. I just think that they got to figure something out because they don't have a true number 1 receiver at this point, in my opinion. You know, you got Romeo Doubs, Alan Lazard trying to fight for that. Christian Watson can't stay on the field. He's getting injured. He got injured again this game. And then Randall Cobb. But I don't know. Someone's got to separate and be the leader that Devontae was, which I don't know if anyone can.
I mean, Christian Watson got hurt again, I believe, didn't he? Yeah, so, I mean, he seems like he's going to be, you know, have an injury-prone kind of season so far. Romeo Doubs, like, he's become his kind of possession wide receiver, I've noticed. And then Lazard, like, where's Lazard? Like, he's gotten a couple big plays, but I still don't look at Lazard as, you know, a Devontae Adams replacement. So, I mean, you're right. Like, they did play good in the first half, but the second half was just atrocious. But good job for the Giants. They are the surprise team. Surprise team of the NFL, I will say. This next game, not gonna say much. Yep. It was just a complete ass beating.
This was the worst welcome to the NFL moment any quarterback
honestly,
could
have. They have like 3 hard games in a row. I think they play the Bucks next week, and then I think they play the Dolphins. So that's like 3 good defenses in a row. So, you know, welcome to the NFL, Kenny Pickett. But I mean, it had to come sometime. Might as well just throw him in there, I guess. Hopefully that doesn't shake his confidence too much, but yes,
baptism of fire, my dude.
But I mean, the only thing I have to say about this is the Bills just destroyed a bad team, and a good team destroyed a bad team. Josh Allen, you know, is ridiculous.
Josh Allen did Josh Allen things. Gabe Davis, baby. Gabe Davis had an amazing game, 171 yards.
For anybody who has that stack in fantasy, you had a good day. But yeah, I mean, I got nothing else to say. You know, it was a good team.
I think Pittsburgh, the only thing that I'll say is, like, they played tough in the first, like, quarter and a half, and then things just got out of hand. I mean, whether it was turnovers, I mean, they had a good interception in the end zone against Josh Allen. Couldn't do anything with it. I think the score was 10-3 at that point. And then things just went downhill fast. I mean, they couldn't keep up. Their offense couldn't do anything. Buffalo's defense was too much. And then Josh Allen was just throwing dimes, dude, like 50-yard dimes to Gabe Davis. Shakir had a decent game. I mean, Stephon Diggs, obviously. And then James Cook at the end had a nice rushing touchdown just to put a little cherry on the top. But other than that, dominant win for the Bills. I have nothing else to say. Pittsburgh is 1-4 now, I believe. So it's This could be Mike Tomlin's first losing season.
When I said in previous episodes that the Steelers are going to sneak in and make the playoffs, I was joking. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. But man, hell no, I was fucking serious. That's why in the offseason I gave this team 3 wins. But one thing I like about the Steelers side is they sure let Kenny Pickett throw the ball. I mean, he threw 54 times and threw for 327 yards. So I mean, it's pretty much just good practice. They probably knew they were going to get your asses beat. I mean, they did know they were going to get their asses beat. So yeah, let's move on.
I'll take the lead on this one. So the next game that we have on the 10 o'clock slate, we have the LA Chargers, my boys, going to Cleveland and walking out with a kind of lucky win.
Kinda.
My biggest takeaway from this, I'm going to say kind of because of this. I judged the play calling. You had so many yards rushing for Cleveland, and then he lets Jacoby Brissett start throwing the ball. Jacoby Brissett had a wide open first down that he could have ran for, threw an incomplete pass. Kevin Stefanski got away from what was working, and I think that's what bit them in the ass. Yes, the Chargers got lucky because they missed a kick. That's always luck on your side. But that's also bad play calling because it was also very bad play calling on Brandon Staley. 4th and 1, punt the freaking ball. There's 38 seconds, 45 seconds, however much time was left. Make them work for it. I know that your defense was getting torched on the ground, but they're going to have to throw the ball. At least maybe you could come up with a big play. But I think this was just whoever was cursed more. I mean, both these franchises are pretty cursed, and it was whoever wanted to lose this one was going to lose this one. And Cleveland wanted to lose this one more because you could have just ran Nick Chubb 3 times with the 38 seconds and then kicked the field goal. But you go for 3 passes. I don't get that. But I'm happy the Chargers won. Surprisingly, the Chargers actually had a better rushing day than the number 1 rushing offense in the league, and the Chargers were dead last. Don't know how that happens. Austin Eckler, 173 yards on the ground. What did he have? 3 touchdowns? Jake,
I muted. I'm sorry about that, guys.
No, you're good. I believe Eckler had 3 touchdowns on the day. He had some receiving in there as well. I mean, Justin Herbert made big plays when he needed to. I think that, he did just enough. It wasn't a spectacular day by any means, but, Mike Williams stepped up. The running attack stepped up. So the first 2 weeks of the season, it seemed like the defense was going to be carrying the Chargers because the offense was having struggles. And then the last 3 weeks, it seems like the offense has been picking it up and the defense has just been getting torched on the ground. So I don't know. I think the Chargers, like you said, in my opinion, it's kind of luck, but it's also just bad play calling. It was just whoever wanted to lose.
Well, the reason I say kinda is because it was luck. It was luck that they won. I'm glad they did, but like you said, you don't go for it. I love, and I want to say this. I want to repeat. I love the 4th down attempts. I do. But not when you're on your own 50. Was it? Where the hell were they? They were super.
I think they were on their own 45
like you said, with 40 seconds left in the game, man, you don't do that. You almost pissed the freaking game away. And so that's why I say it's kind of luck. I mean, and they did miss the field goal. So, but I mean, the offense is going to be fine. I think that defense, I'm kind of shocked that all the defense or all the free agent acquisitions haven't been really panning out so far. They, like you said, they got torched on the ground. J.C. Jackson got freaking torched in the end zone by Amari Cooper. It's just, I mean, they'll figure it out. Hopefully, I mean, they have some, high draft or not. What's the word? High. Yeah, they do. They'll figure it out. I'm sure, but man. It's just a lot.
The one thing that I'll say about J.C. Jackson is this is technically week 2 for him because Kansas City came back too early. He was out for a lot of the preseason because of that surgery that he had. So it's I think he's still getting in the groove of things. I'm going to be a little bit more patient with him. I don't know how much of an impact missing Joey Bosa is, but it's significant. And in terms of like our actual rush defense, it's not terrible other than this game. This game was terrible. The only reason like the stats are a little bit more skewed and why our rush defense is like lower in the rankings is because they'll give up that one big fucking play that goes for like 50 plus yards on the ground. But other than that, they've been holding teams to like 3 yards a rush.
Rush is a rush.
Except this game. They were getting Yeah, no, I get that, but like it skews the numbers like if you're looking at it from an analytical standpoint.
I mean, that just means they give up the big play. So but the Chargers will be fine. I was a little nervous about them on the offensive side of the ball, but I think they'll be fine. So it was a good win for them. I'm glad they got the win.
Yeah, my biggest takeaway is Cleveland, they need to stick with the game plan and keep running the ball because when they get away from it, Jacoby Brissett can't win them the game, it seems like. I mean, he also threw a costly interception, but keep running the ball. You have the number one rushing attack in the NFL. Keep doing that. Let's move on.
All right, this game, golly, man. Right when you freaking start thinking that things are going to turn around, they just do. I mean, last week, it was against arguably the number one team in the NFL. I mean, definitely have the best record in the NFL. So, give them a little slack. But against the Texans, the Jaguars lost to the Texans 13-6, and they looked awful. They looked awful, man. I got nothing to say. I mean, both teams didn't really do much. It was 6-6 for until the almost near the end of the fourth quarter, and then I think Dameon Pierce got a touchdown. Yeah, Dameon Pierce got a touchdown.
Dude, Dameon Pierce's one run. Did you see that run where he broke 5 tackles? It was insane. Dameon
he's a beast.
Good for him.
But I'm a little disappointed in the Jags, man. I was rooting for them. I want them to be good. I like Trevor Lawrence. I like a couple players on their team. But like I said, these bottom of the barrel teams if you play badly, they're gonna beat you. And that's exactly what happened to the Jaguars. They took the Texans too lightly, and I think what was the stat? This was the first win by the Texans to a divisional opponent in 16 games or something like that. It was something stupid, and I'm like, golly. It was just a bad game. Nothing much to say. I mean, James Robinson couldn't really get it going. Travis Etienne actually was the leading rusher.
He had a couple big plays for sure, especially in the passing attack.
I mean, I don't have much more to say about this. I figured the Texans would finally get a win, though. Not against the Jags, honestly. I mean, I knew they would get one win because it's a scrappy team.
Yeah, I think this was more of just a defensive battle. I think both defenses did enough to win. I mean, Jacksonville's defense still played well. Houston's defense played well. And they came up with a good interception and then kind of a last-minute interception on the Hail Mary. But either way, Houston's defense did enough. Dameon Pierce really, I think, is the reason they won this game with that big run. I mean, he kind of secured the bag for them, in my opinion. But, Davis Mills, General Mills, ends up with the win. Good win for Houston. We'll see if Jacksonville can respond next week.
All right. This one was kind of interesting for a little bit. We got Minnesota beating the Chicago Bears 29-22.
This game was weird. I mean, it's so typical of Minnesota to blow leads just like the Chargers. They had this one secured. This should not have even been a competition. You're also going against one of the worst offenses in the NFL, if not the worst. And their offense looked good. I mean, that catch by Darnell Mooney was insane. Yeah. I will give that catch to him. Justin Fields did enough. Montgomery looked pretty decent. So, I don't know. Minnesota, even though they're 4-1, they've barely been winning. Even though they won by a touchdown in this game, it felt closer near the end. It felt like they almost lost this game.
They had a good defensive strip to seal the game, though. So,
that was a hell of a
I mean,
I'll give them that.
For how high I am on the Vikings, I would definitely like them to be way more dominant, especially against, like you said, the Bears. It's a little disappointing because they have players on both sides of the ball. Like when I watch Kirk Cousins play, it pisses me off. Like honestly, he pisses me off. He just does. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about him. They will never win a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins. Mark my words. And I mean, I'm sure they'll get it to very close, but he's not a closer. He's definitely a game manager. But you know, they got the win, and they made the Bears actually look competent on offense. So,
Yep. I mean, Justin Jefferson looked good. Dalvin Cook looked good. I think Minnesota's defense kind of not living up to the expectation that
definitely.
I had imagined. But you know, we'll see where they go from here. Let's move on to the next game.
We got oh my god. Not much to say at all. Jesus Christ. Another team, when you start thinking they're actually going to do something and, you know, show that they've changed their ways, freaking New England destroys the Detroit Lions 29-0. God.
Yeah, that's a bad goose egg. I mean, don't get me wrong. Detroit is injured on offense. They are missing some key pieces. But to get a goose egg and get 0, that's bad. That is bad, especially since you're going against Zappy, who actually didn't look bad. Zappy looked pretty decent.
I mean, we all know the Lions' strength is the offense, and the Patriots' strength would be their defense. But damn, dude. I mean, they got Amon-Ra back. He was a sorry, excuse me. He came back. He was a late, you know, active. And he only had 4 catches, so they definitely shut him down. That's what the Patriots are known for, shutting down your number one threat. But then Josh Reynolds was their leading receiver. I don't know. I mean, I didn't play too much close attention to this game.
Was Amon-Ra
on
a snap count, though?
I'm not sure.
Coming back from an injury?
Like I said, I watch Red Zone, and they only show highlights of like touchdowns scored, and there wasn't really much going on the Detroit side of the ball. There was nothing.
Yeah, I didn't get to see too much of this game either. I mean, I saw the highlights. I tried paying attention as much as I could if there was Red Zone on. But yeah, there wasn't much going for the offense here. So I don't know if Amon-Ra was on a snap count. If he was, that would make sense why he only got 4 receptions. But you know, New England, Ramondre Stevenson, I believe Damian Harris got injured this game, and Ramondre Stevenson went off. Same with Jacoby Myers. They both had really good games for the offensive.
And one last thing about the Detroit side of the ball, you know, Jared Goff was due for a bad game. I mean, there's a reason he got traded from the Los Angeles Rams because they couldn't win with him. So yeah, I think he'll get it going once they have all their pieces. I think they're on bye this week, or bye for week 6, I believe. But yeah, it was just a terrible performance. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. So the next game that I have on my board is one of the best, if not the best game of the week. Seattle, dude, it seems like anytime Seattle plays, it's going to be a high-scoring game, which is completely not what I expected. But we have Seattle traveling to New Orleans for a shootout. New Orleans winning 39-32. It seemed like this game might have gotten out of hand at one point where New Orleans was just leading, and then Seattle came back. And, dude, Geno Smith is really blowing out. Excuse me. He's blowing my expectations of what he was going to do this year. He is going far and beyond from what I expected. You know, he's making these nice 40-yard passes in the end zone. He had 2 to Tyler Lockett today. From when they played on Sunday. Mm-hmm. And I believe he also had one to DK Metcalf. Like, he's making good passes, and I feel bad for Rashad Penny because he looked like he might have had a day. But Kenneth Walker stepped up and had like a 60-yard run. Like, this offense is not bad. This offense is good. Yeah. Their defense is atrocious. I mean, they're getting up over 30 points.
Their defense is, I mean, this is the perfect offense for the Seattle Seahawks because, this is a perfect offense because they have such a terrible defense, and then they have 2 great wide receivers. Like Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf are great wide receivers. And, Geno doesn't have to be the best quarterback, even though he has been playing lights out. And he could just throw it to them and they'll get open, or DK Metcalf will go over the top. So this is, perfect dream scenario for Geno, I think. It is unfortunate for Rashad Penny. He can't stay healthy, man. It's very unfortunate because I think he was doing pretty decent. He had a couple of tough matchups. Mm-hmm.
He's a talented running back for sure.
Paves the way for Kenneth Walker to step up, and if you have him on fantasy, that run he did, it was like a big way. What the hell was it? 80 yards? God.
60.
Golly,
it was like a 60-yard run, but yeah, he was my number one running back coming out of the draft this year. He was a beast. He was an absolute stud for Michigan State, so I think that he'll continue to show runs like that in the NFL. And on New Orleans side of the ball, Taysom Hill. I mean, Taysom Hill, if you had him in fantasy, you just had a
4 touchdowns.
Easy day. But yeah, Taysom Hill, and I think it's funny that the passing touchdown was by Taysom Hill to
Troutman, I think.
Who was it?
Adam Troutman.
Troutman, yeah. And it was a good pass. I mean, Taysom Hill had a day, Alvin Kamara had a day, Chris Olave had a day until that gruesome head injury. I don't know what happened, but that concussion is gnarly. So we'll see how long he's going to be out, which sucks.
One thing,
fantasy.
I'm a little surprised on their defense. I thought they would step up a little bit more, but maybe that's just a credit to Seattle's offense. That's a pretty dangerous.
Yeah, I think San Francisco is the only team that shut out or shut down this offense.
And good for Taysom Hill, but I think they should just keep him on the field. Honestly, they're the most dangerous when he's on the field. I don't see why they're only put him in for 5 plays a game and on special teams, and just put him in on the field all the time. Even if he doesn't do anything, he still has that threat. Put him in motion and people are gonna travel to his side because he's such a threat. Which is crazy because he's a quarterback / tight end or whatever the hell you want to call him. He's a threat. Pair him with Alvin Kamara, Olave when he comes back, Michael Thomas when he comes back. This team can be sneaky good. I still have questions about them because they have games where they just look bad. And then Jameis is going to come back. So I don't know. What do you think? Should Jameis start when they?
I would start Jameis over Andy Dalton for sure. Because he gives you more of an upside for big playability. But, I agree. Keep Taysom Hill out there. Have him as a tight end consistently, or do wildcat formation every drive or something that.
They did it with Lamar. They changed their entire offense for Lamar. Why not just you put your best players out there, and look what happened when he was out there. He went crazy. But yeah, that was a fun game. I honestly think Seattle's going to play everybody like that, unless they play a really good defense.
Yeah, I think that Seattle's going to be tough.
Them and the Giants, sure. I was dead wrong about. I was dead wrong about the Seahawks, and I will admit that right now. I didn't think they were good. I don't know why. It was because Geno Smith. Geno Smith has never given me a reason to believe in him. And that's not saying that's saying as a NFL quarterback. I don't want to say it that mean. But he's never done anything. He was a high draft pick, back in I don't even know when he was drafted. I think it was
8.
So, he was a high draft pick. He started for the Jets, didn't play good. Obviously, everybody knows the story of Geno Smith, and now he's just balling out of his mind. So, good for him. And unfortunately, good for the Seahawks. So,
yeah, he's like a fine wine. He got better with age. So, Seattle fans, accept it. That
sweet
is
of the berry.
Good news for you. And
dark of the berry, sweet of the juice.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I'm sure that, you guys also want to see Russell Wilson struggling. Anyway, let's move on to the next game. We have Miami traveling to New York to play the Jets. I just feel bad for Miami. This is their second quarterback in a row going out with like a pretty.
He didn't even have a
concussion. Teddy Two.
Well, they said it was they were
with?
checking his head, and they said it was his head and an elbow contusion or something like that. And then I'm pretty sure I saw a report that said it wasn't a concussion. So, and then they just sat out the rest of the game.
Okay, I would have to look that up because I thought that he sat out because he had the concussion. But either way, I mean, it's probably just a scary situation for them in general, just because of the whole Tua like legal,
which is understandable,
shit that's going on there. But you know, right. And the thing that also sucks is Tyreek Hill was placed in a walking boot after the game. You know, he had like someone step on his foot or something like that. So depending on how long he's out, that's a significant loss. Miami might be in trouble.
Yeah.
Offensively.
Yeah. Suddenly this team doesn't look so dangerous, especially to lose to the Jets like that. I mean, the Jets have improved a lot from last year, but I don't know if they've improved this much. Man, yeah, it's just such a bummer. And I'm still not convinced that Tua is going to come back and play. Like, that was nasty what he went through. And so I don't know. You never know. You never know with shit like that. People start thinking about, you know, their future and their families and say, is it really worth playing a game for, you know, my brain to be dead? I don't know. But back to the game. I mean, there's two reemergences. Well, one reemergence and in a breakout game. Freaking Raheem Mostert. Yeah, a reemergence and an emergence. Thank you, Dane. Raheem Mostert and Breece Hall, man, they freaking balled out. And I mean, I'm happy for Breece Hall, and I'm obviously happy for Raheem Mostert because he's a former 49er. But what the hell happened to Chase Edmonds, man? This dude.
They're just not utilizing him, man. They're giving him like two carries. It's
one
bad.
carry.
One carry, excuse me. Yeah, they're just like phasing him out, which I don't get because they gave him a significant payout, you know, to be on this team. So it's like, why are you not utilizing him? But Raheem Mostert looks good, so I don't blame them. And
I'll say this: like, I think Raheem Mostert's a better running back than Chase Edmonds when healthy, but he's just hasn't been able to be healthy the last 3 years. That was one of the main reasons why, you know, we really didn't re-sign him for the 49ers. But I mean, I don't know if you remember. Raheem Mostert rushing for like freaking 257 yards and like 4 touchdowns. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's one of the fastest running backs in the NFL. The only problem is like he is typically injured at least once throughout the season, if not more. And you know, last year or the last year he was on San Francisco, it was a season-ending injury, right?
For
it was an
second
ACL,
game of the year.
Mistaken.
So it was or maybe it was the first game, but
so.
You know, good for the Jets. They're another one of these, you know, young teams and
surprise teams. They're 3-2.
I don't see them out of the New York teams. Actually, I can't even say that. The only reason is because the Bills are in their division and the AFC is so stacked. If the Jets were maybe in the NFC, I could see them maybe sneaking into playoffs at this point. They have some fight in them. Zach Wilson looks a lot better. Which I'm happy about.
Yeah, he is looking more improved, which I am happy to see. And this defense, Sauce Gardner, dude. Sauce Gardner is a baller. I mean, he had an impressive sack. He had an interception. He had good coverage. He's everywhere, man. He is what this team needed as a number one cornerback. So good for him.
Yeah, you got anything else to say?
No, that's all that I have to say about this game. So
yes. Let's do this one. We got the Tampa Bay Bucks beating the Atlanta Falcons 21-15. This was a pretty boring game for the first 3 quarters. Yeah, and then, you know, Falcons,
3 quarters. Yeah.
I'm going to say it again. These teams are going to fight. They're not just going to roll over and die anymore. And I like the Falcons. We both do, actually. Jeez Louise. Sorry, I keep coughing.
Yes, I do.
And they fought back. And, you know, I want to hear your take, but because I want to hear your take on 2 of the roughing passers this weekend. But this one,
Okay.
I agree with that it's BS. Like this one was a terrible call, and
I hated this call. I feel like it was just because it was Tom Brady. Like that was a good
it was
sack. It was a good sack, and then it was wiped away because it's Tom Brady.
Yeah,
and Tom
it was.
Brady got up and complained. Like that is unacceptable. You have to allow the pass rusher. Like what are they going to do? How are they going to be able to tackle a quarterback? Are they only going to have to wrap up eventually and not bring him down? Is that the trajectory that the NFL is going? And if that's the case, I don't want to watch that. I still want to see them like bring the quarterback down to the ground. You already got rid of it, so you can't tackle below the legs or below the kneecap. You can't slam them. You can't put your body weight on them. It's like, how many more rules are you going to add where the pass rusher can actually attack the quarterback? It sounds like it's going to be, you're just going to have to hug them, prevent them from.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate call. I mean, it very well could have cost the Falcons the game. They were driving back and had a chance to win. So, I mean, I'm not saying they would have won, but, you never know. So it would have at least given their team a chance to win. I'll say on the Tampa Bay side of the ball, they're finally getting their offense going. Mike Evans.
Yeah, Tom Brady looked better. Tom Brady literally said, fuck them kids and wife or ex-wife at this point now. But, Mike Evans looked good. Leonard Fournette looked good. Tom Brady looked good. I think Chris Godwin played, and he had a pretty big catch.
He was the leading receiver
as well.
If I'm not mistaken. He was the third leading receiver, 61 yards receiving. Mike Evans had 81. Leonard Fournette had 83. All that dink and dunk.
Yeah, Leonard Fournette looks like a good running back.
Yeah, man. He's been making moves. Like, he looks like a bowling ball out there, but he actually looks like athletic. I think this is some of the best football I've seen him play. But yeah, I mean, back to the call. I mean, I don't know what we can do as fans. We can't do anything. Maybe we can petition. But I mean, if you were the league and you were the rule maker, how would you change it? How would you improve this?
I mean, I get the whole concept of tackling below the kneecap. Like, I understand that. And I also get like slamming a quarterback down on their head. I get that. But let them tackle. Like, if they land on them, I'm sorry. That's how it used to be. Like, I still would be okay with that. Like,
that
I
one
think
for
that
sure.
They should revert that rule, because that's what's going to cause. I think that's what's going to cause all the issues, because it's like, when you're tackling and you have all that momentum, how are you supposed to just randomly like, okay, I need to pull off a little bit. I know I hit him. Now I need to somewhat let go, because then if you have a quarterback, say like Justin Fields, who's athletic enough, he's just going to escape from that. And, so it makes it, I understand that they're trying to make it more of an advantage for quarterbacks, especially in the health field. Yeah. But come on, man. Like, you can't do that.
Terrible. I mean, we'll talk about the other roughing the passer call later. But let's move on.
Yeah, let's do it. Next game, I wasn't really interested in this one. I'm going to be completely honest. The Tennessee Titans traveled to Washington to play the Commanders. There were some great plays. I will say that. Derrick Henry looked great. De'Ami Brown had 2 really good touchdowns for Washington. They were impressive. I'll give them that. But Washington's running attack couldn't get going. Washington's defense actually seemed like they were playing pretty well in the first 3 quarters, I would say, first half. But then, Tennessee, they kept pushing. Derrick Henry, he's Derrick Henry. He's going to be the Snow Yeti soon, so he's going to upgrade. He's he's going to evolve pretty soon here. So, I don't know. Ryan Tannehill, he does enough. He seems like more of a game manager to me now, because you're going to rely on Derrick Henry. And their defense, I know they're injured on the defensive line, but their defense played well. It just wasn't the most exciting game, in my opinion.
Too middle of the well, actually, I can't even say middle of the pack for the Commanders. Tennessee's a middle of the pack team to me. Commanders probably in the bottom tier, only because Carson Wentz, man. I mean, he looked okay, but then of course he just pissed the game away for the Commanders. Yeah, and that's
costly interceptions. Like at the most inopportune times also. Like he throws interceptions when you really need that score. And it's not that he played bad before that. Like he had over 300 yards, looked pretty good, had a couple big bombs to De'Ami Brown. Like he looked solid.
Yeah,
then he pissed away the game. Like
before
he just
I was interrupted. He just this is what the problem with Carson Wentz has been for, besides his almost MVP season. I mean, he did have an almost MVP season until he got hurt. He throws the game away, man, and it's unfortunate because honestly, I think the Commanders, if they get a legit quarterback, they could be kind of good. Because Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Jahan Dotson when he comes back, this new dude, what's his name, De'Ami Brown, he looked good. And then if they ever let Antonio Gibson, loose. But, that's not happening because Brian Robinson is back. Good for him. He made his way back to the field. So congratulations. I'm glad you could make it back. That's pretty awesome. That was a speedy recovery. But, I mean, I got nothing else to say. Got nothing else.
Yeah, I think Chase Young will be coming back. So hopefully that defense can take another step forward. But, I think Ron Rivera might be on the hot seat pretty soon, if not already.
All
right, let's move on.
Speaking of hot seat,
you want to say something?
Matt Rule is gone, baby.
Yeah, I mean, he can go coach women's softball now.
So we had the 49ers just absolutely manhandling the Carolina Panthers 37-15. I honestly don't have much to say about this game. It was just a dominant performance. The defense played great. The offense looked great.
I mean,
actually, I will say one thing. It was a good win, but it came at a price because, we lost several starters. We lost our Emmanuel Mosley out for the season. Jimmy Ward came back. He was out on IR, came back for this game and broke his hand. So we'll see if he can come back. Nick Bosa got a pulled growing. We'll see how long he's out. And then freaking Robbie Gould got hurt. So, I think they'll be fine. They have so much depth on that team. They will be fine. And the offense looked great, but it was against the Panthers. So, I expected them to.
I would say the Panthers have a pretty solid defense. So the fact that, Jimmy G threw for like 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, he spread the ball around, between Ayuk, Kittle, Jennings, Coleman. I think Debo actually didn't have that good of a game, but he still had a touchdown. And then, Jeff Wilson, he is stepping up as the running back one. I think he rushed for like 120 yards.
Yeah, he balled
out a touchdown. So, this offense is looking good and the defense looks great. Hopefully the injuries don't cause any kind of setback.
First place,
I don't expect them to either.
As of now. But yeah, we can move on. And, actually Baker's going to be out for a couple weeks, supposedly with a rolled ankle. And, the biggest part. Oh, and there's supposedly rumors of Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, Christian McCaffrey to the Bills. That's what is trending. That's what I'm not confirming it, but
bro, if Christian McCaffrey goes to the Bills, I'm gonna just stop watching football because season wrapped, baby. You have the number one offense already, pretty much, and you're gonna add Christian McCaffrey. Give Josh Allen one of the best running backs in the NFL.
Or he goes to the Chiefs.
Christ. It's not even.
Honestly, I can.
Or he comes to the Chargers. Him and Austin Eckler.
Who the hell is Joshua Kelly getting all these touches? Give it to Eckler, man. I wanted to say that.
Dude, Eck still had 3 touchdowns.
Joshua Kelly. Excuse my French. But let's move on to the next game because this game was a lot better than the 49ers Panthers game. We had the Eagles beating the Carolina.
You're going to that one.
Yeah, we had the Yeah, goddamn,
Arizona
we had the
Cardinals.
Eagles beating the Arizona Cardinals, and you know, I was pleasantly surprised with the Cardinals' performance. They played a lot better than I expected them to. So good for them. What's his name? Hollywood Brown. He is stepping up, and I'm happy about it.
Yeah, he's actually kind of stepping into that one or wide receiver one role while D Hop is out. You know, he's making big plays. He's getting some yards after the catch. And, you know, honestly, I think the biggest thing that I saw improvement-wise was Arizona's defense. And it didn't look like it was going to be good because Arizona was down, I think, 14-0, and it looked like this game was going to be a blowout. And then Philadelphia only scored 6 more points after that moment. And I think that was in the first quarter. They scored 14. Byron Murphy stepped up, dude. Budda Baker looked good. Isaiah Simmons looked good. Zaven Collins looked good. Like, this defense outperformed what I thought was going to happen, especially because they have A.J. Brown now. Jalen Hurts. Like, Jalen Hurts and them still looked good. Don't get me wrong. But I was pleasantly surprised by Arizona's defense. And I know that me and you talked, and we said that if Arizona can go 3-3 before D-Hop comes back, they will probably have a shot at making playoffs as a wild card team. And so if they can win next week, they definitely have a shot.
They play real quick. Yeah, I mean, they have a shot. They play the Seahawks next week. It's a division matchup, but the Cardinals can't take the Seahawks lightly because they 100% can lose to the Seahawks, especially the way one team has been playing with enormous offensive output and one team has not. So it could be if the Cardinals can beat the Seahawks, though. I'm not worried about them. Like, I think they'll be fine.
I think that, you know, because James Conner also got injured. So I think Eno Benjamin, if you guys are into fantasy, he could be a sneaky addition because the Seattle Seahawks are giving up a lot of yards on the ground and through the air. So Eno Benjamin will have himself a day.
But I mean, other than that, I really don't have much more to say. The defense improved, like you said. The Cardinals played really good, and it made it a fun game to watch.
Yeah, this game actually almost went to OT, but, you know, also the Arizona Cardinals starting kicker was out, and it showed replays of their backup kicker during warmups, and he shanked it to the right every single kick. Yeah. And what happened? He shanked it to the right during the actual game, so it's unfortunate. But, you know, Philadelphia, they are 5-0. I don't think this was their best performance, but, you know, their defense is still solid. They still have big plays offensively.
Kyler Murray effed it up a little bit at the end. I totally forgot about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
One extra
and he
yard.
slid
one
and
extra yard.
effed it up, and then they had to clock it, and they could have gone closer. So it's stuff like this that separates. Yeah, they could have. Well, they would have gone a first down, and then they could have, you know, driven it closer. Because like the reason like he clocked it is because they didn't have the timeout or whatever, and it was just this is what separates elite quarterbacks from, you know, good quarterbacks. I definitely think Kyler Murray is a good quarterback. I just don't know if I can put him up on that that like top 5, top 10 yet. His athletic running skills is like insane. Like the way he can run is really cool. And he's improving as a passer. It still looks like he kind of chucks it, but yeah. I know this was a fun one, and we'll see if the Cardinals can, you know, win without D-Hop. And if they do, we'll look out for them. This next game, we predicted this one perfectly. The Cowboys, the Dak Prescott-less Cowboys, just manhandled.
The undefeated Cooper Rush
led manhandled the reigning Super Bowl champs. This was an ugly game. You know, I want to say this real quick. I was shitting on the Broncos and the Colts and the Jags, but this Rams team, that was their worst. That was the worst performance of the week. Actually, I can't even say that. The Panthers had the worst performance, but the Rams were a close second. They looked awful. And we said it, like, I don't think they're going to be able to handle good defenses. And that's what they did. They'd had 2 tough defenses in a row. And I think, what do they play next week? I think they play the Bucks. Am I tripping?
Yeah, I think they do play the Bucks. Yeah, no, they play the Panthers, okay. So they'll have an easier week, but still, decent defense.
And honestly, it's just the fact that they have a very, very hurt offensive line. The Cowboys have
their offensive line is atrocious, man.
Yeah,
they are getting
wrecked. And the Cowboys have a really good defense, and Matthew Stafford doesn't throw to anybody else besides Cooper Rush or Cooper Kupp. Sorry, Jesus.
Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, I mean, this team is it's looked bad 2 weeks in a row. So, and even before that, they haven't looked anything special. So, and they played.
Yeah,
they played the Bills. Sorry, they played the Bills. 3 elite defenses, probably 1, 2, and 3. 49ers, Cowboys, and Bills. And they just got dominated by them. So.
Yeah, what I was going to add is, the defense played well when Cooper Rush only threw for 102 yards, no touchdowns, and then, Tony Pollard
and Zeke.
Dude, Tony Pollard is special. He's got some special speed. Yes, but okay, here's the stat line though. Tony Pollard 86 yards rushing on 8 attempts. Ezekiel Elliott 78 yards on 22 attempts. Tony Pollard averaged 10.8 yards a carry. Ezekiel Elliott averaged 3.5.
He gets those hard earned yards.
Like, I'm not trying to take anything away from Zeke, but Tony Pollard has that special breakaway speed. Like, if he gets out in the open field, he can take it to the house immediately. I think Zeke will get caught. He's not the quickest anymore.
Oh, yeah,
Zeke
for sure.
is like a power runner. But either way, like Dallas's offense didn't even have to do that much to win this game. Their defense won it for them. I mean, it was bad, man.
How many times did they sack?
So bad.
They only got 3 sacks.
I mean, Matthew Stafford.
They got 5 sacks.
I mean, one of the first turnovers of the game was a fumble Rooski, not a fumble Rooski, but they sacked Stafford
Touchdown,
for a fumble
right,
recovery, took it to the house. But I mean, Stafford also threw an interception. Their running game is bad, man. The Rams need to figure out their running attack quick, because Cam Akers only rushed for 33 yards, Cooper Kupp for 4, and Brandon Powell for 1 yard. That is terrible. Yeah. That is abysmal. And then they are starting to somewhat utilize Tutu Atwell, but only 1 reception for 54 yards. He's a deep threat. Cooper Kupp, obviously 125 yards, 7 receptions. He's their go-to. It's him and Higbee are like their main targets, but Allen Robinson, dude, 5 targets, 3 receptions for 12 freaking yards.
You want to talk about a waste of money, aka Russell Wilson? I'll give you Allen Robinson. 5 games and he has nothing. I think he has a touchdown in the season. He has nothing to show for it. Oh my goodness. I do not understand it. I do not understand it. Like, is he just not getting open? I'm not analyzing the tape, but like, is he not getting open, or is he literally just not getting targeted? Because
I do not know, to be honest. I don't know, man. Maybe he's not getting the separation that he needs. I don't know.
Yeah, the Rams.
It's bad. It's bad.
I mean, they're lucky they play the Panthers and can use that as a get right game. Hopefully, well, I mean, I don't care, but hopefully for that team. But god damn, I think it was just 2 really rough matchups. Teams that matched up very well against the Rams. So I mean, they, like you said last week, they're very one-dimensional, and that defense doesn't scare. So we can move on.
All right. We have 2 more games. So the Sunday night game, we have the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to Baltimore to play the Ravens. And even though this wasn't, it was a good defensive game, I would say, like with some scoring. It wasn't the most impressive like offensive game plan by either team, in my opinion. They both held them pretty well, but Baltimore shifted to more of a zone coverage team instead of a man. And last year, when they were more in a man scheme, Cincinnati torched them because that's what their players are good at. You have three of the best receivers in the NFL on one team, and they're good at man coverage. But when it comes to zone, finding those pockets may be a little bit more challenging. And Baltimore played them tough, man. Joe Mixon couldn't even get much on the ground. I think he got like 78 yards total. But, good win for Baltimore. Lamar Jackson, he looks good. Joe Burrow looks good. I don't know, man. I don't have too much to say other than this was a tough fought defensive game.
Yeah, it was
and
a tough
Baltimore
defensive
won.
game. Yeah, I don't have much else to say. It was good. I mean, it's kind of later in the day, so I was like kind of like watching it half tired. Just watching football all day tires you out. But yeah, I mean, I predicted the Bengals would struggle. I figured they would, and they are. So I think they'll be fine, though. I don't know. I could see them missing the playoffs, though. It's just the AFC. Like, if you're not on fire, excuse me, if you're not on fire in the AFC, or if you're not fully healthy, it's a stacked conference. There's just all the top teams are in the AFC. So, but I think they'll figure it out.
I think they'll be fine. I don't think they had T. Higgins this game.
I think he got hurt like
mistaken.
First couple of games,
I
or
think
first
he was
couple
injured.
plays of the game.
Yeah, because when I'm looking at the stat sheet, the most receptions was Hayden Hurst, or most yards at 53 on 6 receptions. The next was Jamar Chase at 7 for 50. So that just shows, like, usually if Jamar Chase gets 7 receptions, usually he's over 100 yards because he has so much playmaking ability after the catch. But Baltimore played them tough, man. It was a good game. Like you said, I think Cincinnati will be fine. Baltimore is one of my top teams in my power rankings, which we will get into for our next episode if you guys want to listen to that. But Jake, you have anything to add before we go to the Monday night game, the one that we just watched?
Let's get into this last one. Yeah, the Chiefs beat the Raiders 30-29, and it was a great game. Couldn't have asked for a better ending to the week. The Raiders gave up another lead. They were up 17-0, I believe. And was it 17-0? Yeah, it was 17-0.
Yeah. It was 17-0, and then I think it ended at halftime at 17. Or no. I think the Raiders were up by 10 at halftime, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been more.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, one really big thing, but I'll circle back to that. But the Chiefs, they came back. They did Kansas City Chief-like things. It's kind of, same old. Yeah, Travis Kelce had 4 freaking touchdowns, balled out of his mind. Patrick Mahomes did Patrick Mahomes type things. The defense, came up with some plays, blah, blah, blah. And then the Raiders had a chance to, win the game, and they just couldn't. Unfortunately, was it Devontae Adams and Hunter Henry ran into each other at the last play of the game?
Yeah, that was unfortunate. I mean, that's a shitty way to end the game. Plus, Devontae Adams almost had a remarkable catch. I mean, it was unfortunate that he didn't have or maintain possession when his first toe tapped and then his other foot got in, because then he had to move it around and then he got possession, but he was out of bounds already. That would have changed the game possibly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Josh Jacobs.
I forgot about him.
He had a phenomenal game. Josh Jacobs did great. Derek Carr looked good. The Raiders look good. They look better than they only have what?
They're the best 1-4 team.
1-4. They look a lot better than a 1-4 team. They look pissed off. And Max Crosby on that defense, Chandler Jones, Morig, however you pronounce his name, like Divine Diablo, like Denzel Perryman. They have players like This team is good. They just couldn't put it together against one of the best teams in the NFL, and they almost beat them. They literally almost beat them. They were this close, and I think if they would have won and been 2-3 instead of 1-4, we would have had a different narrative about this team. But this was a great game for both teams, in my opinion. This was a fun, exciting game to watch.
You said everything I wanted to say. Unfortunately, the Raiders are going to be lower in my power rankings just solely based on their record. You can be as good as you think you are, but if you don't win games, who cares, right? Like the Giants. I mean, I don't think the Giants are good, but they're 4-1. Then the Raiders are 1-4. So I think the Raiders on paper are better than the Giants, but obviously not. Yep.
Paper doesn't matter, baby.
Only W's. But real quick before we end this episode, the biggest thing in this game, there was a roughing the passer called on. What's his name? No. The
Chandler Jones?
Chris Jones. Yes,
or not Chandler Jones, Chris Jones,
and
right?
I wanted to get your opinion on it because, I'll tell you my opinion if you want to hear it first.
Let me go first because I don't want to be persuaded into agreeing or disagreeing. I'm kind of conflicted with it because I think that he did kind of throw him down in an unnecessarily rough way, but because he hit his head, right? Is that what happened? Like Derek Carr, like when he threw him down, he hit his head. Okay, maybe I would have to see it again,
if you want to watch a video, you can. But so what happened is, Chris Jones tackled Derek Carr, stripped the ball, and landed on top of Derek Carr. And so, the rule is you can't land with your body weight. But then people were pissed off and all the fans there were booing the refs Twitter, blah, 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 because it looked like he tried to brace himself with his left hand or whatever. So, if you want to still give your opinion, you can, but I can give mine.
So I just watched it. I do not think that should have been a roughing the passer call. Because like you just mentioned, when he fell down, I see his hand going out.
So
I don't see it, man. Because, you also have to take into consideration, it's getting near the end of the second quarter. They're down 10. He just found a way to get around the edge and make a big play. And, the ball's coming out. So I'm sure he could feel it also. So I don't know, man. I don't think that an NFL player should have to halt their progress or their trajectory to the quarterback that significantly, because how are you going to tell a 300-pound man, hey, we need you to stop what you're doing right when you're about to hit him and kind of lean to the side a little bit more? Maybe he needs to tackle better, but you're also talking about a 300-pound man whose body doesn't move the same way as mine and yours.
100% completely agree with you that it's a dumb rule. It's stupid. You literally can't stop yourself mid fall. You can, and then to have he had it, but he was late to putting his hand out to brace himself because he did land on him. But he was late, but to even have that quick of a reaction is insane. So it's just, you're asking people to do an almost an impossible task, right? So it's a dumb freaking rule. However, it's probably an unpopular opinion, but per the rule book, it is the right call. Unfortunately, and I definitely think they need to get rid of this rule, 100%. Like you just said, I just said, there's no way you can stop yourself from not landing on a quarterback. But as per the rule book, that is a rule, which I think they need to get rid of. And I get he had his hand coming out, but he still landed on him. It's not I didn't mean to grab his face mask. You still did, you know what I'm saying? I didn't mean to. I don't know. I half of these penalties, I don't think you really mean to. It just happens in the heat of the moment. And the fact that he tried to is pretty impressive, but I still think he landed on him, and I still think it was unfortunately the right call. But with that being said, I think they need to change it, like, because I hate that rule. I think it's the dumbest thing ever, and I've had this shit's happened to so many teams, in the past. Like, it's not just like it's only happened to Derek Carr or it's only happened against the Chiefs. Like, it's happened to every team, and they definitely need to change the rule because it's an impossible task.
So yeah, I'm watching it slow down, and I see what you're saying. Like, I really do. As I'm watching it slow down, though, his right arm, as it's grabbing the football, I think that also affects your positioning because, yes, according to the rule, if you land on top of the player, that is a roughing the passer call. I agree. There's got to be some kind of special circumstance where, like, he freaking grabbed the ball. He basically became the offensive player at that point because he was the one who had possession of the ball. So it's like, yes, you land on top of the quarterback. Your right hand is literally grabbing the ball. So, and if your arm's being pressed out, there's not much else your body can do. I don't know, man. I agree that according to the rules, that is the right call. I just disagree that I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it should have been called, tough. Honestly. Like, but like, also I can see the point of the view from the ref because, like, if I don't know which ref threw the flag, if it was the line judge or whatever, or the one in the backfield. If it was in the one in the backfield and he just sees Chris Jones landing on Derek Carr, then I 100% see why he threw the freaking flag because he didn't see his hand bracing for impact. He just saw this freaking 350-pound dude landing on freaking 200-pound Derek Carr. So, I mean, sometimes we have to put ourselves in the ref's position. I think this was. I don't think this was as bad as the Tom Brady roughing the passer. I thought that one was way worse.
I agree. I agree with that 100%. I think that one was way more like what that one was. Doing, man.
That
like,
one is the word egregious because that's what it was. This one, it's always like there's always room for, interpretation of these plays. I mean, for example, like let's bring it back to the 49ers Chiefs Super Bowl. George Kittle had like an 50-yard catch that could have, ended in a 49ers touchdown, but he got called for offensive pass interference. And it could have been interpreted, that wasn't even that much of a push off. And, sometimes like receivers get away with it. Even DBs get away with holding all the time. Like, it's all just how you interpret it in the heat of the moment.
I think that a lot of this comes down to the officiating crew. Like, some of them are stricter. Some of them are more lenient with that. Like, some of them actually like to watch the game play out. Others like to be like, I'm in control of this game. And I feel like that kind of has been the case for some of these games. Is not necessarily the ones that I've seen this year, but like definitely some of the games I've seen in the past are kind of determined by penalties. Like, a ref has literally determined some of these games.
Fortunately,
but I don't know, man.
Yeah, fortunately, this game didn't. I'm glad it didn't come down to that like field goal. The Chiefs pretty much, took over the game. But this rule needs to change because it's. What are you gonna do? And like you said, like are we just playing two-hand touch at this point? Then we're not playing tackle football. Might as well just take off the helmets if we're playing two-hand touch. So, but yeah, I mean, that's what I wanted to say. I just wanted to get your opinion. But those were the Thursday through Monday games. Week 5, ladies and gents. It was a good week.
Yeah. It was a fun week. It was an exciting week. There were some games that were definitely better than others, but, as is football. Thank you again, guys, for listening. If you guys aren't already, please go ahead, follow us on our Instagram, Cannonballs with the Z_podcast. We appreciate you guys for listening. Stay tuned for future episodes. We will post them on our Instagram with bonus content.
Just like, comment, subscribe. Listen to the first 5 minutes. Message us if you want to talk shit to us. We enjoy it. We're waiting for someone to actually do it. But as always, thank you for listening and peace.